Greetings, everybody. I am the Starving Martian, and we live in a day and time today when collectors with a thing for Gremlins can easily pick up representations of their favorite Mogwai that look like they just stepped right out of the television screen, especially items like this from our good friends at NECA. They're really good at making screen accurate figures, both plush ones like this and also the smaller plastic variety. Look very much like living props that you would get directly from the studio, but it wasn't always that way. When I was growing up, we had to make do with Mogwai who looked somewhat less than realistic, and yet it's hard to deny that they had a charm all their own. So I'm going to show off today some of my vintage Gizmo collection from back in the day. And we're going to start with this one little guy here. Here he is. Little plastic Gizmo. And I have to say, for the time this was made, this is very well done, very well sculpted, very lifelike. He's even got veins in his ears. He's got a little belly button. Why do Mogwai have belly button? They reproduce asexually. I don't know where that comes from, but whatever. So this guy's vintage. He's from the first movie. He is, as you can see, quite adorable. Turn him around for you. And they painted in all his details pretty well. He's even got some decent posability. His head can swivel. Actually, his head can swivel all the way around. It's kind of spooky. And he's got some movement in the arms, which of course is hindered by his head. His legs are just molded onto his belly, so no movement there. But he is rather cute. In fact, I think they did a better job in the first movie than they did in the second movie. Here's a little Gizmo figurine from Applause, put out for Gremlins 2, the new batch. And as you can see, he's not nearly as well detailed. His ears are huge. He's got these weird batwing ears. I keep thinking this guy's going to fly off on me. He's also missing that white patch on the top of his head that this guy's got. So, I mean, it is a much smaller figure, and, you're going to have some loss of detail, but anywho, I think the first movie figures did come out a bit better. Speaking of the first movie, here's a Gizmo plush. Trust me, take my word for that. Let's go. There we go. So he's a big boy. Getting close on that face. And again, I think the details came out good. They sculpted his ears nice. He's got hard plastic eyes and mouth and little red nose. And for whatever reason, if you shake him, he squeaks. And yeah, that makes me look like a horrible Mogwai parent, shaking him around like that. But he is quite adorable. I picked this guy up years ago at a thrift store. I believe it was a Goodwill. He's a bit mangy, a bit dirty, and you don't realize how dirty these things are until you see a newer one to compare. But there's that guy there also from the same era, same movie. Hold on a second, gotta get this guy adjusted. Alright, here we go, is a Gizmo hand puppet. So yeah, you can stick your hand up his backside and get some fingers in his head and a finger in each arm, and there you go. You have him dance around. Make your own little movie if you so desire. This guy has more plastic bits than the last one we looked at. He's got plastic hands. And again, the sculpting on this, the details are really good. You can see his wrinkles in his skin. You can see his fingernails. Same on his feet, which look a little bit monkey-like. That's kind of odd. But again, you can see his nails individually sculpted there, and the details going on. And if you want to know what this guy would have looked like brand new out of his package, I actually found a, this one's not a puppet, but it's obviously the same design, same make and mold. And this guy looks like he was just made yesterday. Look how bright and vibrant he is. Like the white is getting pops out at you. And so if you had bought one of these brand new back in the 80s, this is the kind of coloring you would have seen. And he is so soft and fluffy. So get a good look at him now, because I don't know how much longer he's going to stay this fresh. but there he is with his more weather-beaten counterpart. Alright, next one I have to show you is a little more recent. I say a little more, it's still like 17 years old. 2001, this guy came from a claw machine. And, you know, by then, NECA was already making some of these guys. And obviously this guy doesn't have nearly as much detail, but he was a claw machine toy. What do you expect? I kind of like this guy. You know, he almost, except for his little bit of white hair, he almost doesn't even look like Gizmo. And that's one of the reasons I like him. He could just be a standard, generic Mogwai. In fact, when you start putting them all together here, it looks like I was careless and let one of them get wet. But, so yeah, this guy comes from 2001. And despite, obviously being the least as far as quality goes, he's still quite cute, has a charm all his own. Now, and jump forward to our last one, to 2003. And oh boy, this guy, this is my big boy. Just for a size comparison, here's this guy next to him. And so this looks like the type of thing you would probably win at a carnival, a fair, something like that. It's made, by the way, by the same company that did the one we just looked at, the claw machine guy. Same company did this guy. But obviously this guy wouldn't have come from a claw machine. Although, you know what, in the malls I have seen some of those claw machines that just have like this huge claw and you can pick up things like this. So maybe, I don't know. All I know is he is the biggest guy I have in my collection. Far, far larger than life. If anything, I would say this guy here is closest to life size, maybe a little small. The only problem with this thing is I have nowhere at all to display it, so he just ends up tucked in a corner in my attic. Very sad. Alright, and that's what I got for you. It's my look at vintage Gizmo figures from back in the day. So guys, let me know which you prefer, the newer, more screen-accurate ones, or the older, retro G1-ish, old-school Mogwai. You know what, I'm going to have to say and that I sort of have a thing for the older ones. I just like the classic detailing. And of course I do have an old soul, old spirit, so it's to be expected. So that's what I got for you today. We will catch up with you next time with another look at something else. But until then, this has been the Starving Martian reminding you, as always, to keep watching the skies.